What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for PlayPicks.com and TheLines.com. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Thursday Night Football coming up. The Bucs and the Panthers. Pretty good interdivisional game here. Of course, a couple teams trying to bounce back off of Week 1 losses here. While you're here, please subscribe to the channel below. Do yourself a favor, do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let us know in the comments who you're playing tonight. We're very interested in whether you got a side, if you've got a total, whatever it might be. You got a teaser, you got a parlay. We're very interested in what you guys have going on. And of course, if you're looking for the best sportsbook bonuses out there, if you're in a legal jurisdiction, just head to playpicks.com/bonus. All right, so we're here on Play Picks. We're going to take a look at, if you want the full written breakdown, just head to Play Picks and you can see what Juan thinks about this game. And of course, you can also head over to the lines too. There's a Thursday Night Football betting preview page, which is pretty awesome. Got the money line spread totals. You can toggle between that at some of the books over in New Jersey, as you see right here. And of course, a little bit of a write-up to go along with the game, but that's pretty awesome. That is thelines.com/odds/TNF, which is Thursday Night Football, obviously. Definitely something you want to go check out. Cool odds feed going on over there at the lines as well. So we are certainly improving that site each and every single day. So let's start with the weather here. Actually, let's go ahead and start with the lines in this one. Lines opened at 6.5 in most places, but as we flip over here to DraftKings Sportsbook, you can see this thing is now at 7. No surprise that this thing moved to 7 here, because a lot of people react to what they saw most recently, and that was Tampa Bay looking like complete garbage. You can see at FanDuel here, it is at 7, and then over here at William Hill at 7 as well. Still at 6.5 at some of the books in Vegas, but over in Jersey has moved to the 7 already. Total open 48.5, 49-ish, something like that. Oh no, that's where it sits now. Opened kind of closer to the 51-ish range, but you see that thing has fallen a little bit. And of course, that's why we're going to kind of talk through that. But again, a little bit of an overreaction to what people saw in Week 1 here from this game. Weather, 85 degrees, no wind, some decent humidity, but this should not be anything the Bucs aren't used to. They play in Tampa anyway, so not really worried about that. Injuries on the Panthers side of the ball. I'll scroll down here if you want to read what some of the thoughts that are going on along the way. Edge rusher Bruce Irvin going to be ruled out in this one for the Panthers. Tackle Greg Little is actually coming back. Should make his debut for this team. Cleared concussion protocol, so he's good to go. Tight end Greg Olsen for the Panthers. Questionable. He says he's going to go. Didn't get in a good practice all week long so far. And of course, it's a short week, but he says he's going to play. So that's all we have to go by. So we're just going to assume Greg Olsen is going to be out there. Of course, last week, Bucs, on the Bucs side, Mike Evans played through flu-like symptoms. He had some sort of bug as well. So hopefully he's back 100%. But again, it's a short week, so we have to at least take that into consideration here. Some Panthers notes, if we want to take a look at some of the Panthers notes. In this one, they were down 13-3 last week to the Rams. Rallied back, scored 24 points in the second half. Of course, ended up still losing there. We really want to figure out if Cam Newton is fully healthy here. He is a guy that only ran the ball 3 times last week. That's not very Cam-like. Finished with negative yardage for the first time in his career. That said, the Bucs defense only hit Jimmy Garoppolo 1 of 28 dropbacks last week, so Cam might not really have to worry too much about any pressure or anything like that. So on the Bucs side of the ball, Jameis, as you know, just looked really bad. Several poor decisions, a couple of pick sixes. One of the interceptions he threw was actually O.J. Howard's fault, so what wasn't Jameis's fault went off his hands, and so that was, I give him a pass on that one, but 2 were really, really bad interceptions. Of course, Mike Evans was held in check. We can assume that has to do with the illness. If you watch the game, he'd run a route, be over on the sideline, wheezing, coughing, whatever it was. So definitely something going on with Mike Evans in that. They also had 8 penalties, this Bucs team, for 87 yards, 4 turnovers, 3 bad drops. So it was just an overall horrible, horrible game there for this Bucs team. So something we're going to definitely, chalk up to. Maybe that was just the first game jitters or something like that. Panthers offense, Christian McCaffrey just absolutely unbelievably amazing. 30 total touches, 209 yards. He had 10 receptions in that game, was in on every single snap of the Panthers' offensive possession. So let you know just how important and what they are, how they're using Christian McCaffrey in this. On the Bucs side of the ball, we really got to figure out on the offensive side of the ball for the Bucs is Jameis can Jameis take care of the ball? Because if he continues to make these bonehead decisions, they're not going to have a chance in this game. And I honestly am going to chalk it up a little bit to Jameis, just new system, new coach, whatever it might be. And again, one of those picks was certainly very unlucky for him. They did have 2 touchdowns called back as well. Cameron Brate scored a couple different touchdowns, got called back for penalty as well. So keep that in mind, that it wasn't as bad as it looked last week if you were only watching the box score against that 49ers team. And is Mike Evans back to 100%? We can only assume that he is at least much, much closer to 100%. He has had several more days to get healthy, and it wasn't the flu. It was one of those, quote unquote, flu-like symptom type situations for him. Keep scrolling here if you want to read along with what's going on. Panthers defense held Jared Goff to 4.8 yards per attempt last week. That is absolutely minuscule. They did very, very good. I mean, if you watch that game, Jared Goff just could not get in a rhythm. This defense had a lot to do with that. So this Panthers defense looks to be improved, looks to be playing well, at least here at the beginning of the season here. Bucs defense on the other side, last season they were 30th in Football Outsiders DVOA in total defense. They also gave up the most receiving touchdowns in the league to running backs. And of course, Christian McCaffrey, as I mentioned, had 10 receptions last week. He's definitely a receiving running back. So something we need to watch with that as well, if they are going to improve there. Now, that being said, this Bucs defense, we're talking about this year, not last year. They now have a healthy Vita Vea. They acquired Ndamukong Suh. They drafted Devin White, who is a big-time inside linebacker for them, super speed, side to side, can also stop the run. So this isn't your same Bucs defense that you had last year with that, but certainly something to point out, because it's something they're going to have to shore up on that side of the ball. Let's go look and how we're going to kind of go about this thing. If we're looking at the pace of this game, if we're kind of looking at this total, we've seen that it's dropped. It should be a pace neutral game here. We have a team in the Panthers that plays pretty slow, plays on the slower side, at least in the slower half of the league when it comes to seconds per play run. And then on the other side of the coin, you have the Bucs, who play at a faster pace when it comes to plays per second. They actually had the 4th most plays in the league last week, the Bucs. So at the end, you're just going to get a neutral here, right? If you have one team that goes a little slower, one team that goes a little faster, you're probably just going to end up with about the same amount of plays, league average, when it comes down to it. So, in that 62-ish, 62 to 65-ish type range, something like that. So should be pace neutral if everything plays out to how we've seen so far. This total has fallen a couple points, as we mentioned. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the people are overreacting to what they saw in week 1. So let's make a case for the over in this one. And the case in the over is that this Bucs offense, which everybody was so highly, on before the season started, with all these playmakers, with not only with Jameis Winston, but you got Mike Evans, you got Chris Godwin, you got O.J. Howard, you got, if they decide to actually release Ronald Jones there in the backfield as opposed to trying to run Peyton Barber, you actually have a lot of playmakers on this team. So if they can kind of get it together and put some more points on the board, you certainly expect the Panthers to be able to score at home here. And this number then, this 49, getting the over on this 49 doesn't seem out of question here. It just really can the Bucs kind of get their stuff together here. A case for the under would be, look, this is a Panthers team that wants to run, and they ran Christian McCaffrey almost to death last week. I mean, I don't expect him to get 30 touches every single week, but I mean, it is only week 2 here. Maybe they try to taper off some of that workload for him a little bit later in the season. That could be the case that we're looking at. So maybe they keep pounding. Maybe they give Cam Newton more carries this game. And of course, as we know, the more you run the ball, the more the clock runs, the more it ticks down, and the fewer possessions each team gets and the fewer opportunities to score for each team in the game. The other way for the under could be, hey man, the Bucs just don't do their part. Maybe Jameis Winston and this Bucs team is just not, in the Bucs offense is just not as good as we thought. Maybe we were just enamored by the talent there, the raw talent, but they can't all put it together and they can't get it done here. So another case for the under could just be the fact that if you think that what you saw from this Bucs offense last week is really more along the lines of what this Bucs offense is as opposed to what we thought it could be this season, then it's certainly the case for the under there, because the Bucs just might not pull their part. We might get a chance, we might have a team in the Panthers who goes out there, maybe puts up 27 points, but maybe even 31 points in this game or something. But if the Bucs can't do their part, then we're not going to be able to get the over in this thing. I want to look at a couple of the player props here real quick before we move on to the side and how I'm going to lean this game. One of the things I thought was interesting here, you can see you can actually see right here, these are the passing props. Jameis is 277.5, Newton 255.5. Jameis I actually have kind of more projected in that 282-ish, 281, 282. So there is kind of a 5-6 yard difference here. So not really jumping up and down about playing the over, but I certainly haven't projected for more yards than this. Don't really have a feel on Cam in this one, so I'm not going to be playing his passing total. One of the things I do have, though, on the charts here, and actually I'm going to flip over to FanDuel for this one, is Cam Newton rushing yards. So we'll go to the player props over here for Cam Newton rushing yards. And Cam Newton rushing yards over here at, oh boy, this thing has been pounded. Whenever I saw this yesterday, it was 27.5. So people came in and they were pounding the under on Cam Newton rush yards in this thing. So it was, actually 27.5 on FanDuel yesterday. So I guess we'll go back over here. Now it's 24.5. Don't love the under here. Love the under at 27.5 over on FanDuel yesterday. That thing has been bet way down. That being said, I got to imagine the fact that he only ran 3 times last week means that Cam Newton's not fully healthy. That's my guess here. I'm not a doctor, and they're certainly not going to come out and say that ankle of his is not fully 100%, because they don't want people to know that Cam's not going to run. They don't want their opponents to know that Cam is not going to run. But to see with my own eyes that he only ran for 3 yards, and they gave Christian McCaffrey as many touches as they did, leads me to believe that maybe Cam isn't quite there yet. So definitely lean to the under here on Cam Newton rushing yards. I kind of think there's more of a, kind of a 15-yard-ish projection, 18-yard-ish, and it's because there's not really going to be designed runs. I think it's just going to be Cam kind of taking off when he has to. I don't know if they're going to do any designed runs for him, because there's no reason, if that ankle is not completely healthy, for them to take a risk on hurting him here at the beginning of the season any further. This is certainly, you're not going to have a chance in that division if you don't have Cam Newton, for sure. All right, so let's talk about the picks in this game and how we're going to go here. I went ahead, full disclosure here, I took the Bucs +7 in this one. I also have the Bucs in a teaser in the over as well. I actually think the Bucs, here's the thing, this is what we talked about. 8 penalties, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns were called back in that game for them. They also threw 2 pick sixes to the other team as well. I don't think the perfect storm of horribleness is going to happen again this week. I mean, that was basically just the perfect storm of mediocrity and terribleness, and that's what it would take to kind of get that going again here. I'm going to believe in the fact that I'm going to chalk it up to Mike Evans being sick for his poor production last week. I'm going to say that he's going to be healthier here, that he's had a few more days to kick off this bug of his. And we were very, very high on this offense coming into the season, and I'm not going to just punt that after one bad game from this team. Still a ton of talent in Evans, Godwin, and O.J. Howard. They're going to start working in Ronald Jones more, I believe. Once they gave him the ball last week, he looked much better than Peyton Barber. They also have Dare Ogunbowale there, who is a pass-catching running back for them that looked really good, got 5 targets as well. And I think the Bucs are going to be able to keep this game close. At 6.5, a full touchdown to me was worth it. And so I got on this Bucs team +7 because, again, I'm going to try and not overreact after 1 week of the NFL season. We know after 1 week sample size in the NFL season does not mean very much to us. Now, if you want to get this +7, you can see there's been a little bit of money coming in hitting it because you're having to pay some juice over here at DraftKings. If we head back over to, a little bit of juiced up over here at FanDuel as well. And you can actually get it's a juiced 7 there as well at William Hill. So you can see people are starting to hit that +7 a little bit. So if you want to get it, maybe go ahead and get it relatively soon because we can see this thing drop back down to 6.5 maybe before game time gets around here. I'm betting on talent. I'm betting on everything that I researched in the offseason here that this Bucs offense was at least going to be good. Now, they're not going to do a ton of stopping on defense here, but they do have a much better run defense than they do a pass defense, and we know that the Panthers' big strength is going to be their run game. Cam Newton did not complete a pass over 17 yards last week against the Rams. So that's how I'm going with this game, guys. We started off well last week at the beginning of week 1 here. We were able to get that in that Saints game. We were able to nail that one. So hopefully we continue the streak here and continue on our winning ways. Please subscribe to the page below, like this video, let us know in the comments what you're playing. Really want to know what's going on here. Of course, you can head over to PlayPicks for the complete written article on this, and you can head over to thelines.com. You can hit any of this. You can hit the Thursday night page if you want to, or you can just see this really cool new live odds page that we've got going on over here. All of the games, you can toggle even back and forth between New Jersey and Pennsylvania, see how things are going, money line spread, and totals for the various books there. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you guys back for Sunday Night Football.